And we're live. Hello, everybody, and welcome to Wheel Talk, the podcast with two guys in wheelchairs.
Yep.
Welcome, Brian Kinney.
Thank you, sir. My brother from another mother from across the pond. It's been a while,
Yeah,
man.
it has been a while. It has been a while. We said we'd get in touch because I did my year in review video. Every year I do a year in review, 7 years after paralysis, what I've learned, blah, blah, blah. This was my 7th year. And you shot me a message saying, I've got some thoughts about like some of the things. Too long to send in a message. Let's have a chat. Why not do a podcast? And here you are.
Yep. Yep. Rest is history. So,
Absolutely.
yeah, I did want to chat about that. I don't know. When I watched that video, it resonated a lot with me, but it also, I don't know. I felt like you were being kind of hard on yourself, with the last year. I feel like you have chatted with Brittany about it too, and I feel like both of you guys are like, man, I should be doing more. I should be further along than I. And I was watching that. I'm like, what else could you have done? You got engaged. You did the poker thing, and you had to learn a shitload of information to do that, and you succeeded at it. And now you're planning your next chapter of life. So I don't know.
Yeah.
From an outsider's perspective, when I look at your year, I mean, obviously, I'm not seeing you day to day, but I feel like you're doing enough,
Yeah, yeah.
Uh, and I was also
Well,
thinking, I'm gonna add one more thing because you're in your 7th year right now, post
yep.
injury. What my thoughts are is this first 6 years were basically just getting your life on track. I feel like this past year, I feel like you've actually accomplished more because now you're bringing you're bringing another person into your life. You're living together. Like that's tough. Like when you
Yeah.
said that was an adjustment, that is certainly an adjustment. I remember when I first moved in with Tiffany, and I'm like, she would get pissed about me leaving, shit on the bathroom counter and just all the things
Yeah.
that go with cohabitation. So I don't know.
Man, yeah. So I wanted to start with saying you're right. Like when I show a highlight reel of the year and be like, oh, look at all these things that I've achieved, but I think I could have done better. You're like, oh, but look at all the things that you did achieve. But they're the highlights, right? So the things that you don't see behind the scenes are the times where I've spent, days doom scrolling or like lost on YouTube listening, like passively listening or just consuming content or like just not living up to my full potential. So what I feel is there's a lot of untapped potential there. But at the same time, I think after you have a spinal cord injury or after you start living in a wheelchair, you get a lot of pats on the back for doing such small achievements, right? You're like, oh,
Yeah.
well done, you've got a job in a supermarket. And don't get me wrong, I love my job in a supermarket, it's great. But I feel like I want to hold myself to a higher standard. I know that there's a lot of untapped potential in me. And that's where I was expressing a little bit of, I guess, regret and just sort of yearning for a little bit more. Like I know that, yeah, it looks like I've done a lot, but like I know that there's so much more in me. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I get it. I totally get it. I do the same thing. I mean, I spend way too much time on YouTube. That's kind of my go-to, just because I'm a very visual person. I like to. That's how I learn. So anything that I'm trying to research, I go straight to YouTube. I don't really Google it because I don't learn from reading. I just learn from watching people do it. So yeah, I'm guilty of that too. And I feel like it's kind of why I haven't, uploaded anything on YouTube for a while. And I just get, I just feel like my day to day is busy, but I'm not probably using the hours that I do have free very wisely, I guess I
Yeah.
could say, which
Yeah.
is kind of what resonated for me when you said that. So
Yeah. Well, that resonates with me a lot. Like some sort of just time wasted. Like my girlfriend, she loves me, but sometimes she complains that I'm not very present. And I get it. I try to be more present, and I'm really trying. But sometimes she just sees me like just looking at my phone. But sometimes I'm either watching something completely and utterly engaging, thought provoking, really, and sometimes it's not. But whether I'm even learning a second language, it's still looking at a screen with my AirPods
Yeah.
on, and it's not being present. So I understand from her perspective, I could be doing anything, and it's not. I'm not very
Right.
present, and I like that she's there to pull me out of it because, and like I said in the video, once you start living together, once you're cohabitating, you see the other person's, the bits about the other person that you've been hiding. I guess I was hiding my screen time from her, and then all of a sudden it's like, oh wow, that's quite an unattractive quality you've got there, and I'm like, oh shit, yeah, you can see into my soul,
Did she actually tell you that it was unattractive?
Yeah, and I agree. I think it is an unattractive quality to just get lost in screen time a lot. And I use my disability as an excuse, but like I said before, it's a bloody good excuse. Like when it snows and the days are dark and it's cold outside, of course you want to stay warm, right? And then you've got this, the internet to entertain you. So but before my injury, I was out snowboarding. I was out, shoveling the snow. I was doing those things. So the injury is a very good excuse. It's just I know that she thinks I'm using it as an excuse, and she's right. I am. It just happens to be quite a convenient one.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. I mean, that's why I hate winter so much. I just feel kind of stuck. The snow, yeah. I mean, it's like a prison. When it snows more than 4 or 5 inches, I might as well just stay home.
Right.
But I do get out quite a bit. I work in the garage. I think I told you I have my mower converted to a snow plow in the wintertime. So I'm out plowing all the sidewalks around the neighborhood, and that's kind of like my good deed, but it frees me up to be able to actually go outside because I can't walk my dog through 4 inches of snow.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's kind of my thing.
That's another thing that it weighs on me, and this is a really good segue into what we wanted to talk about. But I can't walk the dog when it snows, right? And that is me not contributing to the tasks that need to be done. So in the summer, I love walking the dog because it's something that I can do and it's like ticks off the checklist. But when I can't walk the dog, my girlfriend Chris, she has to walk the dog. That's an extra task that she's burdened with because I can't do it like physically. Now, as a parent, looking into becoming a father, I'm like, shit, are there going to be times where there's an extra burden on her because of my disability? And I know that you wanted to talk to me about this, so I'm all for it, man. Like, I'm sure there are times when it sucks, like, for the woman to be like, hey, god damn it, I wish that you could do the thing, do the dynamic, manly things with a big, able body that, the other men do. I don't know, or maybe that's just my insecurity, but I'd love to hear your thoughts.
No, I mean, I think there's some truth to that. Even my wife says it, like, I think even if we weren't disabled, I think just being a father, we can contribute a lot, but there's always things that moms are going to be doing more than us just because the kids always tend to gravitate toward the mom. So that's kind of an example that we run into with my daughter. She'll yell, "Hey mom," and I'll be right there and like, "Hey baby, what do you need? I can help you." She's like, "No, I want mommy to do it." It has nothing to do with me being disabled. It's just that she prefers, Tiffany to do whatever it is. She apparently has the magic touch. So then Tiffany does kind of come back and say, man, I got to do everything in the morning to get her ready for school and to pack her lunch and do all this stuff. And, I'm getting her toothbrush ready, which is a very small, insignificant task. Or I'm pouring cereal in a bowl and putting milk on it. And, it's just like, but she's doing, the packing the lunch. She's brushing the hair. She's, getting the outfit together, all of that stuff that, comes with parenthood. But I think my biggest thing that I kind of wanted to tell you with this whole potentially starting a family thing is it's not as scary as you would think. Like it was when I first, when we first got pregnant. Well, I mean, even backtrack before that. It took 4 years to get pregnant. So every time that it didn't work, I was thinking, is this even meant to be, that kind of thing. it was funny in your in one of your videos you talked about how guys, we're always taught from a young age, like, better pull out, don't. And then you realize how freaking hard it is,
Yeah.
how, like you said, the stars have to align. um you know Millions of sperm, only a handful get to the egg, that kind of thing. I can
Yeah.
remember, when I was a teenager, and I remember I was with my girlfriend and the condom broke, and it
Oh
was the
yeah.
most terrifying thing in my life. I'm like, I was like, get in the shower. We got to wash you out. Like, you know, and now I'm thinking that no, that wouldn't have happened.
Right. Yeah, I've
But
had similar experiences in the past where, yeah, and it's just drilled into you as a teenager, like, don't do it. Like, if the moment one little sperm goes in there, pregnant, and your life's ruined.
right. And I think that is a thing, because I had friends that got pregnant at 19 and 20, and I just felt bad because, I mean, they did miss out on that early adulthood,
Yeah.
that they instantly went from being a teenager to a parent. Yeah, they didn't get that transition that I'm very glad that I got. We didn't get pregnant till I was 34. Well,
Yeah.
actually, my daughter was born when I was 34, but I felt like that was a sweet spot age for me. But yeah, I do remember when we first got pregnant, and I was so excited that it worked, but I instantly, like, the switch flipped in my head, like, oh shit, this is real. Like, this is
Yeah.
going down, and like, I'm gonna have a baby here in 9 months, which ended up being 7.5 months because she came premature. And
Yeah.
thinking about all the things that I got to get the crib together. I've got to,
Hmm.
my biggest thing was like, how am I going to contribute when we're out and about? I built that attachment for my wheelchair to carry the baby carrier on. That was very useful. But those were the things I was going through my mind, is how can I contribute as much as I can?
Mm.
Um, yeah, but there's still times where there's things that I can't do. I can't,
Yeah.
like, if we're at a trampoline park, I'm not jumping on the trampoline. I'm sitting there like a goon.
Yeah.
One of the things when you were talking about being in the standing frame, when you were looking at that picture, and how it meant more to you than just seeing yourself stand. Mine for that would be, I have actually a picture on my Facebook. It's my background profile page, but it's when we were in Florida. It's my wife and my daughter walking on the beach during the sunset.
Yeah.
But I was able to take that picture because I was sitting on the sidewalk, and I wasn't able to go down to the water with them, and it pissed me off so bad. And I
Yeah.
remember just thinking, like, damn, this is one thing that I wish I could be a part of, and I can't do it. But there's so much more that I have been able to be a part of. So it's splitting hairs,
Yeah.
really.
I know what you mean, man. So there's so much I can add to that. I just wanted to go back to one of the points where you said about the pregnancy, because we're trying at the moment, and we had this moment, and I haven't shared this actually in public, but we had this moment where I thought it had worked, because before her, we've got the app like Stardust. It tracks her cycle and stuff, and it sends me notifications, saying like what. It's quite funny sometimes, like saying what parts of the cycle that she's in. And then
Okay.
normally, like, before her period, she gets like a bit bloated, and there's a few like telltale signs that she's going to come on her period. And we were like, oh my god, like, none of these are happening. In fact, you look glowing. You literally look glowing. I was like, oh my god, you know what they say about glowing ladies? And I'd really hyped myself up. And then she said, oh, I've just had my period, and it blindsided me so much that I cried, because I was actually starting to get in those feelings that you were getting. I was like, oh my god, shit, it's real. Oh my god, we're gonna have a baby. Oh, and then all of a sudden that bubble got burst, and it blindsided me. But I burst into tears, man. I was like, oh my god, I hadn't realized how, it's not just like one and done. It's like it's so hard to get pregnant sometimes, right? So I was
Right.
like, oh shit, this might take ages. Like, this might take like many, many, many months, if not years, and it just highlighted how this is going to be a tough journey. But it's just so interesting how I related to exactly what you said. There's this excitement, but absolute, like, it's this terrifying, like, realization of, like, oh my God, is it going to happen? Because that's awesome and terrifying. They're exactly, like, existing at the same time.
Right. Yeah, I remember, a few times that I thought it worked. Of course, we had to do in vitro, and then we also did IUI, which is in uterine insemination, and those didn't work. But each time that we put all this effort, I mean, this is, a month worth of, injections into my wife and her, all the things that she had to do to make sure it was perfect. And you think, oh man, this is it. You roll the dice and you shoot, and then you get that, sorry about your luck, it didn't work.
Ugh.
Not only that, the money that, I mean, when you go drop $15,000 and sorry about your luck hurts a little bit more, than after that. But I even remember every time, like, I was sitting on my back patio and I was looking around my yard and I was thinking, like, pretty soon there's going to be a swing set there, and maybe there's going to be a trampoline over there, and there's going to be a little girl or a little boy running around. Just, I had all those thoughts as we were getting, trying to get pregnant. And then as soon as we found out it didn't work, it was like somebody just shot the bubble in the air, and I cried. I completely understand the emotion. It's such a roller coaster. I think the good thing for you is you can ejaculate on your own, can't you? Okay.
Yeah. So we're doing it in an interesting way.
Are you turkey bastering?
Yeah, I was going to say, you ever basted a turkey? I'll say no more. I've said too much.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's a technique that I'll tell you more off the pod, because I've got some very funny stories that are very, very inappropriate for a public platform. But yeah, we're having fun trying, shall we say? But yeah, going back to the thing you said about the standing frame, I'm glad that you brought that up, because one of the things that I said in the video was this picture of me in the standing frame meant so it hit me in a way that I hadn't anticipated. It was a picture that was taken over a year ago with some clothing that Chris had bought me, that she'd obviously bought, because when you see the clothing online or whatever, wherever you order it from, the man looks, he's obviously standing, and the clothes look really good on him, right? And the clothing looked really good on me in my standing frame. They were sort of like some sort of like hippie fit joggers that were like baggy at the top and skinny at the bottom, and they had a nice shirt as well. And it was really nice, and the clothes fit me very well in the standing frame. Unfortunately, in my wheelchair, because they're fat at the top, they like rub on the wheels. They don't have zippy pockets, and I pretty much exclusively only wear trousers with zippy pockets, because, as you probably know, it's quite handy to, if you're sat down all the time, you don't want things falling out of your pockets. And It just struck me that I don't dress to impress that much. I dress for comfort, because I don't go out that often. And the clothing wasn't just the clothing, but the clothing was a metaphor for parts of myself that I'd forgotten that I loved. I loved the fact that I looked good in clothing like that, and it represented a dynamic man that it just it represented the possibilities that I'd forgotten about, like the things that I think I'd thought that I'd grieved over. And it's a question I wanted to ask you, actually, like, if you've grieved over the things that you've lost, sometimes it comes back, like grief is not, grief can come back, and you can look at a photo and be hurt again, by the things that have been taken from you, even though if it's 7 years, later, it still stings, right? I don't know if that ever happens to you.
All the time. The most random was yesterday. I was looking through old photos that I had taken of my car. It's stupid. Mm-hmm. I'm a car guy. I love cars. And I had taken a picture of the interior of my car, and it was a manual transmission. And I think about how I still grieve the fact that I can't drive a manual transmission, because as a car enthusiast, that was 50% of the driving experience, was just being in full control and just, being able to shift gears. And I was like, I kind of wonder, like, that's almost like a shade under being able to feel my penis. If I could, you know, like as a car enthusiast, I'm like, man, I would really, you know, I would love to feel my wiener again, and I would love to be able to drive a standard transmission again. So I don't
Yeah.
know.
Yeah, that's funny,
Even
man, because
even though in the
yeah, go on.
United States there's only 1% of cars even made with manual transmissions anymore. I know it's a lot more common in Europe, but Americans are lazy.
It's very funny you said that. Like as someone who's not really a car guy, it makes
Right.
not that much sense to me, but it's very funny. But yeah, I think that sometimes I mean before that picture, I thought that grief was something that you felt once and moved on, but I realized that it's something I have to renegotiate with from time to time, you know. I've accepted my new life in a wheelchair. Obviously, it's 7 years ago, right? It's just my new normal now. But having that come up for me, I was like, oh wow, shit, I don't know. Like I say, it just blindsided me, man. I was just like, wow, like look, I forgot who I used to be,
Right.
and there are parts of me that I miss. It's just like the spontaneity, you know, the guy who just like says yes, like, do you want to go somewhere? And I'm like, oh shit, do I have enough meds? Do I have my catheters? Is it going to be wheelchair accessible? Are there stairs? You know, I used to be the guy that just said, fuck yeah, let's fucking go, man.
Yeah.
Like, and that's not me anymore, and those are the bits that I miss, you know, not just the clothing and the upright, this, you know, it's the spontaneity, man. Like, yeah, so
No, I
it
completely
just stung.
understand. Mine is more um, like I fix things, so I can't. If I see shingles that are falling off the roof, that's something that I used to be able just to go up on the roof and fix, or just a lot of the things that I can't reach, to be able to fix. Our dryer was recently broken, and I had to get Tiffany to take the screws out of the top, and she couldn't reach them, and she's got about this much patience, so she was getting pissed off, and I'm like, motherfucker, I used to be able to do this, and I could have done it like in 2 seconds, and it would have been done. And now I have to before I can even do it, I have to wait till she's available to help me. And I knew right off the bat she was going to get frustrated with it. So yeah, those are the things that I still, even 16 years later, I'm like, damn, they still come up. I don't think that's ever going to go away. I really don't.
Well, it's nice that you're aware of it. Like I say, it's the first time in a long time that those feelings have come up for me, and I think it's because I have regressed. Like I said in the video, like, I don't feel disabled when I'm rolling around my house. Like when I need a wee, I just go for a wee, right? But when I'm at work, I have to wear incontinence products because I can't just leave and go to the toilet. I have to go to the back of the shop, get in the freight elevator, go up, then wheel across. So if I need a wee and it's really busy, I have to wearing incontinence products. There's no shame in it. But going from not wearing them to like, oh, I don't need them because I can always wee when I need to wearing them, it makes me feel a little bit more disabled. It reminds me of like, oh yeah, you can hold in a wee for a little bit, but you can't hold in a wee forever. And I'm like, yeah, that's right. So yeah, just like every time I push up myself outside my comfort zone, it reminds me that I'm disabled and that life is hard. And I think that's why sometimes I regress. Someone left a really insightful comment the other day saying like the online world doesn't discriminate in the same way as the challenges you face. So of course when I'm like online, like looking at YouTube, I don't feel that disabled, but when I venture out into the real world, I'm like, oh shit, yeah, there's like some real logistical challenges.
Yeah, for sure. I kind of want to watch that. Do you have that video of your standing frame that you turned to AI? I wanted to check that out.
I've got it here. So I'm glad you brought that up. So before I show everyone, one of the things that because I've got, in case anyone doesn't know, I got a job recently at the supermarket and I work on the checkout. And there's kids that come through, and I love like seeing the kids and how they interact. And a lot of the times, I just think, I just see like dads just pick up their kid, throw them, and like just walk out the shop, and the kid giggles, and I'm like, oh, it just stings. Like the other day, I was almost brought to tears because I was like, that's an experience I'll never have. And it was like a kick in the dick, which I did not see coming. I was like, oh my God. I'm not even a father yet, but I'm already thinking of the experiences that I won't have, like the simplicity of just like sweeping up the little kid and be like, oh. So I asked AI to do it, and this was something spontaneous. It wasn't something that I had planned on doing. It was just like, oh, I'm making a video. I'm aware that I've been playing around with this tool on Grok recently that animates stuff, and you can just do it. Ask it like a text prompt, and it does it in seconds. It's absolutely wild. But yeah, I'll share it now of me picking up a baby, and it's pretty cool.
I've watched this 15 times, so.
Yeah, there it is.
Oh my god.
So we'll play it one more time. So it's pretty cool, right?
It's very, very cool. I had shown that to Tiffany, my wife, and she's like, "That's so cool. You should do that so Ellie can see, so my daughter can see something like that." And it instantly gave me a feeling of I don't know if I can handle that. Because it's something that I really do wish I could do, and it's even worse when you have your kids saying, "Daddy, I really wish I could get on your shoulders and you could carry me around." Then it points out what you already feel inside you, and then it's like, oh, obviously she wishes I could do this too. I think the bigger thing is when they're being bad, when you've got a screaming tantrum of a child and you can't. I mean, sometimes you got to be able to grab them, so they're not tearing out of the grocery store. That's when it gets tough, and that's when mom comes in. Unfortunately.
Yeah, that's what I mean. This was like so realistic. Obviously, it's very realistic.
Right. It doesn't look quite like you in the face, but I was blown away how accurate it is.
There's another one. This one here, where I just pick up the.
Yep.
I pick up the wheelchair, and again, it doesn't look exactly like me there, but like, look how cool it is.
Right. That is cool. I noticed instantly the frame is not, obviously I have a keen eye for wheelchairs. So obviously you don't have the red underneath, but it looks legit. And then there was one of you cool. like doing lunges and stuff.
Yeah.
That cracked me up.
So, on that note, I have a little surprise for you if you're willing, if you're open to it. But I made a video of you doing the same with Ellie, and I can upload it right now, and I can show you live what it will look like. But only if you feel comfortable with it.
Yes, let's do it.
All right, let's do it.
It might hit me, but the fact that I didn't have to do it myself, that's awesome.
Oh no, not that one. Where is it? Downloads. Yeah, this one. Okay. All right, are you ready? Here it goes. Wow. It's pretty cool, eh?
Oh my God. We got to see that again.
I mean, I don't know how that makes you feel, but it's pretty wild, eh? Oh man, I'm sorry. I didn't mean for that to.
Sorry.
No, I hadn't anticipated.
I wanted to see it, but it's like.
Yeah, I'm sorry, man.
No. Whew. You just don't realize how badly I wish I could do that. I mean, how fucking bad I wish I could do that. God. That was cool. It was cool, and I want that video so I can share it. It's like almost, I think I told you, like the out of sight, out of mind kind of thing, Mm-hmm. It's like I think about it, and it would be so cool to see. Um, One thing I did a few years ago was I trained in physical therapy to use one of those exoskeletons, the walking exoskeletons, because I really wanted Ellie to be able to see me walk. But it was so free, it was so clunky, and it was so unrealistic. Yeah, I was upright and standing, but since I'm such a high paraplegic, I have no core, meaning I had to have a therapist in front of me and a therapist behind me to guide me, and it just wasn't realistic. Even it wasn't realistic walking. So when I see a picture like or a video like that, that looked so real, and God, I don't know. I really wish I could do that. Obviously.
I feel you, man. I think it's a little bit different for me because I'm imagining a child that I don't have, and I hadn't anticipated how that would hit you because you have Ellie, right? And you're like, that's a real physical like thing that you feel like you could grasp, and or that's out of your grasp. So
Right.
yeah.
Yeah. But thank you for doing. I mean, I'm glad I got to see it, but yeah, it's just AI has become so real. Like for example, if it had been a cartoon character of me picking up a cartoon character, like AI has become so believable, and that was believable. And I imagine that's exactly what it would look like if I did that.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, it was.
And her reaction in that video was exactly how I can imagine her being.
Yeah.
Thinking about like throwing her up in the air and catching her, and all those kind of things that jumping on the trampoline out back. I wanted to do that so bad. I'll go on there with her and I'll bounce on my butt and stuff, but it's not the same. You can't double bounce. And my biggest thing is just being able to climb and just do different activities with her would be so amazing.
Yeah.
But
well, there's a lot of support in the comments, and I'm like I say, I'm sorry I blindsided you with that, man. Yeah.
No, I mean, don't feel bad. I appreciate it. I really do. And I do want that video because I do want it. I'm sure once I watch it again, it won't be the punch in the face,
Yeah.
Reaction.
I mean, there's one more that's slightly different. It's kind of like the same, but if you want, I can show you it. It's
yeah, let's do that. I think I got my woo woo out. I got my
yeah.
my tears. Oh my God, that is cool.
Yeah. So
do that again. That's what I'm talking about. The throwing her up in the air kind of thing.
Mate, I get it. Like I get it. Of course, it's like a dream come true. It's but it's also quite it's torture. It's
yeah.
It's savage.
So like one of our activities, she always likes to play with me on the bed. So a lot of the times, at the end of the day, I'll lay down and I'll stretch out, and she always wants to come play. So, she'll jump on the bed and she'll shit on my chest and she'll want me to like throw her up in the air. And we do this thing where I'm laying down, I grab her arms. We do this 1, 2, 3. I kind of throw her and the momentum picks me up and, I tickle her and we just play, but I can only play like that laying down. Because it wouldn't really work from the wheelchair, and I don't know. So, but yeah, it was crazy to see it, standing up.
Yeah. So that brings us on to the subject of like what I wanted to talk to you about really was, like when something like AI shows you a version of yourself that you can't be, is it curiosity or is it like poking a bruise,
Right. I think it's a little bit of both. That definitely poked the bruise, but at the same time, like I'll admit, I was curious to see what that would be like. When Tiffany said, "Hey, you should do that for Ellie," I was curious, but I was also like, "Ooh, that might open a can of worms." And clearly, it opened a small can. let a couple of the worms out. But I actually also think it maybe that's healthy. Maybe that was something that I needed to see to kind of, I don't know. I'm just trying to look at it from a positive perspective,
Yeah.
But yeah, it was a punch. It was a punch.
I'm gonna highlight a few of these comments. You guys make me so sad. Such good looking guys. Remember, you don't have to have legs to be a good father. And remember, guys, in the big scheme of things, your kids won't be thinking about how many times Dad threw me up. They will only remember your friendship, moments of love towards them, and your friendship with them. And there's a lot of other supportive comments as well. But yeah, like I realized I had to have a word with myself as well. And because I got really sad looking at someone else do that. I wasn't even me. And I remember thinking, shit, that's something I'll never do. And then I realized that, parenting is made up of 10,000 moments every day that don't necessarily involve the things that we over romanticize about, like just being there, like not being an alcoholic, just giving them a love, or I don't know what, not just, there are so many bad parents out there, you know what I mean, like who would
Right.
I've been told by people that they said, if I would trade, I had a friend actually after my video put up, she messaged me saying, I would trade you for my dad any day. Like, he wasn't in a wheelchair, but he was never there. He had like substance abuse issues and he was shit. Like you are, I would trade my dad for you any day. And I was, you'll make a great dad, don't worry. And I've had a few messages like that reassuring me, and I know that you are a great dad. You know what I mean? It's just these things that I think it's nice to share, like with someone that can truly resonate. And like I say, there's people resonating in the comments. There's people resonating that will watch this video. But yeah, it's one of those things that's it's quite hard, isn't it? Like I know it's not everything, but it's something, and it's
Yeah. And a lot of people, my close family and friends tell me the same thing. Like, Brian, you are great. You do so much more for Ellie and you do so much more for your wife than a lot of men that are able-bodied do. And I'm like, yeah, that's true. When I look at it through their lens, I can think, okay, yeah, that's true. But then I'm in this body, and everything looks different looking outward sometimes. But I agree. I mean, I think there's so many things that I do well as a dad, and only a few things that I can't do well.
Yeah.
I get it. But it's
yeah. It's
it
like
is what it is.
Yeah, it's like you're saying about that picture of Tiff and Ellie on the beach, and you're like, I wish I was there on the beach. It's those little moments that like doesn't really matter. Like Ellie's not going to remember that. Right. It's in your head, not theirs, but it's still in your head. You can't. There's ways of justifying it. There's ways of saying, it's not. It doesn't really. It's not that big a deal. And it's not, but at the same time it is, you can't just brush it under the rug. Sometimes you have to feel it and be like, yeah, I fucking miss that, like I miss that old me. Like there was something, I've got, I love practicing gratitude and being grateful every day. And I don't want to dwell on it. I don't ever want to, like a newly injured person to think that they have to dwell on the things that they've lost.
Yeah.
But it's really nice to sometimes just acknowledge it and be like, hey, yeah, fuck, that hurts, I would love to be able to dynamically move and do the things that people take for granted, throw my kid up in the air, and so sometimes it's just nice to acknowledge that it's don't dwell on it, but every now and then just acknowledge it.
Right. Mm-hmm. So that's going into parenthood. If that's what you're going to do, I think you're going to do it really well. I know you've been told that before. I just think you are going to be a fantastic dad. I mean, hands down, like that woman said, shit, I'd take you, over my dad.
Yeah, I mean, that was a really nice compliment. But sometimes when it snows and I struggle to get the shopping out of the back of the car, I'm like, man, if I can't get the shopping out of the back of the car because it snowed, like, how am I going to get the kid in and out the car? Like I don't have a garage. I mean, all of these problems, obviously, they have a solution. But in my head, I'm like, I'm bloody helpless. The other day, I was trying to get the shopping out and it snowed and there was ice. And I got completely stuck. And I was like, Chris! I was shouting. And she came out like, what? And I said, I'm stuck. And she was like, oh.
Did she think you were like...
to me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did she think you were like hurt?
Stuck.
Right.
I guess so, yeah. She was like, oh, you just need a push. I'm like, yeah, but, I'm stuck. It's a big
Right.
deal. It's like my independence was robbed from me in a split second. I had my shopping on the lap. I got stuck on some ice. It was a slight incline. There's no way I could grab anything. I'm stuck. I'm stuck 6 feet from my front door.
Right.
And yeah, I mean, I might have hollered a bit dramatically, but like it, all of a sudden, like that, a bit of ice on the floor, and my independence is taken away from me. And I'm like, what if that happened with a child? And the child's wandering towards the road or something. Oh, I don't know. You just have these like,
I know it snowballed thoughts. I get it. That happened to me remember I told you I plowed the sidewalk. One time I was, probably half a block away from my house. The mower got stuck in the snow, and I'm like, shit, I'm stuck. And I'm trying to, I just am like, I hope somebody drives by. I hope somebody comes out of their house, because I'm going to be sitting here for a while. It's not like I'm getting off. I didn't have my wheelchair. And I saw a guy, and I'm like, hey, can you come push me? And he's like, "Okay." He couldn't speak English. And I'm like, oh, I'm like, fuck. Anybody English, anybody.
Yeah.
And then finally one of my neighbors did come out, and he's like, hey man, you need a help, helping hand. And he got me unstuck. But it was that, 5 minutes of sitting there in the freezing cold thinking, oh shit, I did it now.
Yeah.
I tried to push above my weight, and I got hit. So.
And that's the other thing about being in a wheelchair. The dead giveaway that you're paralyzed is that you're in a wheelchair, right? If you're sat on a mower that you've converted into a sled, and you're like, hey, you don't look like you need help. Right?
That's the thing. I think he thought I was trying to like pull something. Yeah, because he didn't understand the words I was saying. Yeah, and me sitting on the mower, I look probably able-bodied, but no. My legs don't work. I promise my legs don't work.
That's the funny thing about sitting on a plane. Like, I've traveled independently before, and you sit on the plane. I remember there was this woman and child, and they'd sat me in the aisle seat. Since then, I always get the window seat. But they'd sat me in the aisle, and they were like, oh, we need to get past. And I was like, oh, I can't move. Like, obviously, if I'm in a wheelchair, you're obviously, in a wheelchair. But when you're not in a wheelchair and you're just a guy who just refuses to move, they were like, what do you mean? And I just said, listen, I'm paralyzed from the waist down. I usually use a wheelchair. It's not very obvious. They were actually absolutely sound about it. They were very, very cool. But it was a very odd conversation to explain to someone that you're paralyzed when the wheelchair takes away, it's like that non-verbal communication. It's like, obviously, you're paralyzed.
Right.
When you're not in the wheelchair, it's quite hard to,
Yeah. I've had that same exact scenario on a plane. Like, hey, can you move your legs, please? I'm trying to get by. And I'm like, I'm sorry, I can't. I'm not trying to be a dick, I promise.
Yeah.
I don't know.
It's like some guy came in the shop today and he had his ski boots on. And I said, oh, you're going for a ski? He was like, oh, I'm just going to go for a, what is it? A little, like a randonnée thing. And he was like, yeah, my back aches and my legs don't work properly. It really sucks. And I was like, read the room, brother.
Right. Did he see the wheelchair?
Well, the thing is, like, that's the other thing, actually, which is really interesting. I find that my identity is tied to the wheelchair now. I am the wheelchair guy, Freddo, the wheelchair guy. But when I'm at the till, right, so many people don't see the wheelchair because I'm sat there and I'm like, oh, hey, how's it going? Bonjour, whatever. And they just don't see that I'm in a wheelchair. So sometimes they say, oh, you ski? I'm like, no, I haven't skied for a few years. Oh, you don't ski? How? You live in a ski resort and you don't ski? What? And as soon as they clock the wheelchair, they're like, oh, and it's very interesting because usually it's very obvious. And I'm in this unique position of like, oh, I'm sort of in disguise almost,
Yeah. I know you said an American had made comments like, in America, all the tellers have to stand up. Wasn't that what he said?
That is it, yeah. On the podcast with Brittany, yeah. And they don't let them sit down in America. And I was like, oh, okay, well, when you come around, and hopefully you can, you'll feel like a knob. But I didn't want to rub it in his face, but
yeah.
But yeah,
he's like, oh, whoops.
Yeah. I just want to highlight this comment as well from Josh. He says, I went through those same thoughts and still do at times, but the most precious gift we can give them is our time and love. They don't mind how it's done. It's just being together that counts. So thanks, Josh. I appreciate the
Yeah.
yeah. It's like I say, it's good to acknowledge it. We don't want to dwell on it, but like, yeah, obviously disabled parents make good parents. There's so
Right.
many more important things, but yeah, I just wanted to just highlight that comment because it's true.
Yeah. One thing I also wanted to mention that I think we talked about it before, but when we first got pregnant and Ellie was first born, I'm thinking, you think a baby is a baby a lot longer than they actually are. I mean, they're only a baby for a year.
Yeah.
And at this point, it's been 7 years. I mean, she is, pretty independent. I mean, she reads really well. She can take care of a lot of things herself. She'll get food out of the fridge and just make herself something to eat. Like, thinking about how relatively short of a time they are little and they are kids is what I thought was going to, I don't know. I just had it in my head before I became a father that was going to last a lot longer than it has. So now, she's going to be turning 8 this year. And I'm in this really weird funk about her. It's that age of 8 that I feel like is completely different than 6 and 7. Like when I think about myself at 8, I was always out of the house, tearing around on my bike, getting into shit I probably shouldn't have been getting into, I was a older kid. I was no longer a toddler. I was no longer, that's when I was starting to find myself. And I'm like, man, it's just mind blowing that 8 years goes by like that. It goes by so fast. In the baby stage. Yeah. So you're only going to be changing diapers for so long and then it's gone.
Yeah.
And it gets easier is basically what I'm saying.
Yeah, I hear you, man. And also, like, once they get to that age, they start becoming useful, right? I mean, if you wanted to, you could get her to like pump the gas, right? You could be like, you pull up to the petrol station and be like, hey, I'm not going to get the wheelchair out the car. You just go pump the gas and Daddy will pay. Like, I don't know, get them to do, and then the roles reverse. Then they become helpful.
Right. Yeah, she does that for me now.
Oh, really?
If I have to move the car, say I want to work on something in the garage, I got to get the car out. I'll say, hey, Ellie, can you come move the chair for Daddy? So I'll hop in the car, I'll move it. She'll wheel the chair out to the street, and I'll obviously make sure there's no traffic coming. And then, she's like, sure, I can do that. 2 days ago, I had a package delivered. The idiot put it on my neighbor's porch and not mine. So I wheeled over to their porch, and of course there's 3 steps up, and I'm like, Ellie, can you put your shoes on, please? She's like, yeah, Daddy, I can do that. So she, throws her shoes on and comes out, and so she's definitely another wingman, that's for sure.
That's really cool, man. Hey, listen, we've left this a little bit late, but I really wanted to ask you about your year in review. I know that we were going to try and keep this to an hour, but tell me about, because I did a year in review video. I do one every year. I know that you haven't uploaded, but you're online right now. So if you could tell me a few of the highlights from 2025, just run me through, what the last year was like.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't horrible. It was a pretty good year overall. We had a huge vacation in, I think it was April, late April into very early May. We went on a Disney cruise, which was amazing. It was extremely expensive, so I don't think we're not going to be doing that this year, just because, we need to save a little bit of money. But that was a huge thing. I got to go on roller coasters with my daughter. We went to Kings Island after her birthday. It was fantastic. I'm trying to think what else. The big thing, the big downer part of this past year was my mother-in-law who lives with us got cancer. She had colon cancer. She had to have part of her colon removed. So she was in and out of the hospital quite a bit, and she lives with us. So we were constantly just, worried about her. And she came home, and then she'd have to go right back to the hospital because she kept having complications. Our biggest thing, our concern was that she was going to have chemotherapy. Luckily, her type of cancer, they basically said that she didn't have to. She's doing immune therapy treatments instead. So she's not losing her hair. She's not feeling like absolute shit. So that was the only low light, really.
Yeah.
But yeah, overall, I mean, it was a good year. Like you said, I've been trying to be present with my daughter and trying to soak up this from 7 to 8 year age that I feel like is just going by too quick. So
yeah,
I don't know. That was my big highlights.
What lessons have you learned this year?
What lessons have I learned? I don't know. I mean, just another reminder that shit happens, that cancer just can pop up out of nowhere. And I think that's something that I've always thought, what happens if it's me? And do you ever, this is really kind of dark, but do you ever think, how am I going to go out? Like, as a paraplegic, am I going to get a bed sore, or am I going to, what's osteoporosis going to be like? And what is trying to wheel as a, 80-year-old man or a 7-year-old man? I don't know. Maybe that's like midlife crisis thoughts, but I was just curious if you've had those.
So, interestingly enough, Brian, I'm going to say something now. It's going to sound really dark, and I don't want anyone in the comments or any family members or anything like this to misinterpret what I'm saying. But every now and then, I do think about that, and I think that again, take this with a pinch of salt. And perhaps because I'm not a father yet, or whatever, but I thought a few times this has come up, like randomly, but I think that because I've been to that dark place where I thought about taking my own life, I think that there's still a chance that like my life could end by suicide. And I take it with a pinch of salt, but say for example, AI takes over the world, so there's some sort of mass doomsday scenario where like life just looks so unappealing to like continue with, for example, the chances of survival would be very, very slim, but in a wheelchair would be grotesque, even if there were, I just think like, I don't know, there's some sort of scenarios where I'm like, there's probably still, some sort of percentage chance that like my life could end by my own hands, and it sounds really dark, but I've just entertained the idea of being like, oh, what if that happened, or what if that happened, or what if I had another injury that like made my life incredibly debilitating, or even worse than worse, you know what I mean? So yeah, I mean, yeah. I'm waffling. I'm sort of trying to like, I don't, do you know what I mean? Like, I'm just saying like, I've thought about it, and I've thought that there's a percentage chance that my life could end by suicide. That sounds really way darker than I meant it to sound.
Right. I
don't know if you, yeah.
I've had the same thoughts about doomsday, and if a bomb gets dropped on Columbus, Ohio, and I don't have catheters and I don't have all these things, I'm not going to last long. I've right. I've thought about that. I'm going to be one of the first ones, to kick the bucket, so to speak, if that happens. But yeah, I mean, for some reason, in the last year, I've gotten more interested in morbid curiosity. There's a mortician that has a YouTube page that I follow, and she talks about just morbid things, and she's really funny and she's very animated about it. But and my wife will say, "What the hell are you watching that for? That's morbid." And I find it interesting as hell. I don't have a death wish, but I'm curious to know more about death. I don't know, because none of us are getting out alive. We're going to go eventually. My biggest thing is I think about dementia, and that is one of my worst fears is getting dementia. My second worst fear would be getting cancer, but I'd say if I had to take one or the other, I would take cancer over dementia because I've seen how it's affected multiple friends and family. You know, when your mom or your dad can't remember who you are, that's hard. Um, and I've seen it with my eyes, and it's scary shit.
Yep, that one hits close to home as well, man. And
And I'm sorry, I didn't mean to bring up a sensitive subject.
not at all, man.
I just realized what came out of my mouth.
Not at all. Not at all. It's something that's been getting worse lately, and I'm talking about my mum. The thing is, I know that there's a chance that my mum might listen to this. I know we're getting to the end of the podcast, so the longer we go, it's just I see it, and it's a very, 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 very cruel disease. It can be so undignified at times, and I just, yeah. I mean, we can talk about it more off the pod, but yeah, I agree. Like it's a fear of mine, yeah, for sure. It happened to my nan. It's happening to my mum at the moment, and if I'm honest, I don't want my mum to go out the same way my nan did. You know, in an undignified way like that. It's a cruel disease, and it's yeah, it takes away the people that you love, and it. Yeah, man. Yeah, I don't want to dwell on it too much because it's a bit dark, but yeah, it's
Yeah.
savage. You know, like yeah, there are some terrible things that are way worse than paralysis. You know.
Right. Right. Yeah. I totally get that. And I'm sorry I brought it up, but
No worries.
it's one of my thoughts. You know
No,
me, I'm word vomit. That's what I am. That's what I do.
no problem, man. So I was thinking that I have to ask my mum about this, but like my dad died, I think, like in his 40s. So he was quite young when he died. I remember there was like an argument that they had about like me coming into the world to begin with, because his argument was you shouldn't have a kid because I won't be alive by the time he grows up, which in hindsight is silly because I ended up with a stepdad who I love, and it was fine. But obviously it was a concern for him. But my dad died young, so I don't know. Like it's an interesting question. It's a bit of a dark end to the pod, but yeah, it is something that I've thought about. Interestingly enough, as you brought it up, like how will my life end? Will the world end? Maybe it'll be nuclear Armageddon, and maybe it'll be AI, maybe it'll be, who knows? There could be a number of things. Like, will I even get to be a parent? Like you could get hit by a bus tomorrow. It's interesting. So yeah, I think it is an interesting way. I don't want to dwell on it, but it's interesting to think about like how life is very, very fragile. And you need to take every day and squeeze as much juice out of it as you can, and don't bloody doom scroll all the time.
Yeah. I'm with you, but I wouldn't beat yourself up too much, man. I think you're doing plenty. I really do. I think this year was a pivotal year for you as far as getting engaged and potentially starting, the getting engaged, the moving in, and these talking and trying to start a family. I mean, that is something that did not exist in the 6 years prior. So
yeah,
you're doing good things.
I've got a question for you. How old was Tiff when she had Ellie?
She was almost 38.
Oh,
So
okay.
yeah, because Ellie was born in July. She turned 38 in November.
Okay.
So she's almost 4 years older than me. I was 34. She was 37. But yeah, there's definitely a ticking clock for the woman as well.
Yeah. So Chris
How old
is
is Chris?
35.
35. Okay.
And I'm 30. Sorry, I'm 43. So yeah, I mean, like I say, we're trying, and I think, like I say, it would be great. I want to complete the circle of life. It's definitely something that I want to do, and I think there was a time where I thought like the future looked too dark to bring children into the world, and now I think possibly even selfishly, I'm like, life is life, man. Like everyone struggles, right? There was like world wars, like people brought new life into the world all the time throughout history. There's all the future's always looked quite ominous, right? So
Right.
and whatever happens, I don't know. I've got this real yearning to, and maybe I've also considered it could be quite selfish because I feel like I don't have much purpose or meaning. I'm like, this will give me purpose or meaning, then I can focus my attention on the child instead of YouTube, that'll be the sort, then my problems will have a focus, maybe, I don't know. Have you considered that?
Yeah. No, I know for me, that was, I would consider it one of my biggest accomplishments is becoming a dad. It's something that I always thought that I wanted to be. Of course, I had that age where I didn't want to get a girl pregnant because I was too young, but I'm just so glad that I got to become a dad, and it's filled me up, and it's given me so much more feeling of purpose. And it's so funny when I see her do certain things that I'm like, yep, I taught you that. Or she'll say a phrase and I'm like, yep, you got that from your dad. It's just cool. It's like having that little mini me, so to speak, even though she's Tiffany's mini me. She looks very little like me, which I'm okay with, but it'll be cool.
That happens. Like sometimes like the offspring will look so much more like one than the other. And so I said to Lou like fairly recently, I was like, oh, your little girl, she looks so much like what's his name? Lawrence. And she was like, oh, everyone says that. I think she looks like me. So I thought I hit a little sensitive nerve there because I was like, oh, oops. But yeah, so it is interesting, isn't it? Like sometimes they look so much like one parent. And then sometimes I forget that a child is a mixture of two people. And when they start becoming a certain age, I'm like, oh yeah. Because like Leanne and Josh, two of my friends, they have a little girl. And I'm like, oh my God, you literally look like Josh and Leanne had a baby. And it's like, idiot. But like that's exactly what they've got, like little characteristics of both. It's like and it's absolutely obvious, but it's also like mind-blowing. It's like, oh wow, yeah, it's like a mixture of the two. I can see bits of both of them in there. So that's really, it's crazy.
Right. Yeah. It's a little trippy. I get it.
Yeah. Right, anyway, we've come to an hour. We said we'd keep it to an hour, nice and succinct. So yeah, I just want to say thanks again, man. Thanks again for hopping on the pod, having a great chat with me, and sharing your point of view.
Yeah, it was good chatting with you, man. It's been a while. So we need to keep this up like every now and again. Shooting for a weekend, I think, was a perfect idea too, because I don't have to go back to work. So
sounds great, man. I'm keen. And sorry again for blindsiding you with that AI vid. But it was a nice moment, I think, that we captured. It was very organic and it brought me to tears a little bit. I was like, seeing you crying. Yeah.
Got a little misty, but thank you.
It was nice.
Shoot that to me on WhatsApp. I want to show that to my fam.
I definitely will do. Right.
Yeah.
Let's end this. Right. Thanks everyone. Thanks for watching. Thanks Brian. Thanks for commenting if you're watching, and if you're watching afterwards. Have a nice day. Peace.
Yep. Thanks, guys. See ya.
Cool. There we go. That was it. Oh, are we still on?
I think so.
Did I push end? Oh, this is awkward. I
definitely
Hello? I definitely pushed end.
What the
the clock's still ticking? Hello? This is all... Oh, Brian! Now Brian's just left the room. That was just me. Oh my goodness. This is awkward.